Saagar, what are you looking at?
Well, a few months back when Jeff Bezos blasted into space, there was a lot of discourse in this country around the billionaire space race. Many thought that it was grotesque to watch some of the richest men in the world engage in some sort of pissing contest around who could get to technically space with the most flair. Others said, look, who cares? If the government isn't going to space, let the billionaires do it. It's better than having nothing, and they have the business know-how anyways. They have the will, and they have the money. Well, I feel somewhere in the middle at that time. But a flashing red warning sign around the billionaire space race happened yesterday, and it is being completely ignored by the corporate media. It has profound implications for the future of our country and its legacy in space. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson announced yesterday that the return to the man-moon landing missions will be delayed until 2025. Not because of a technical difficulty or an engineering problem or something legitimate. No. It is because of litigation. And not just any litigation, ego litigation from none other than Bezos himself. Jeff Bezos' company, Blue Origin, took the United States government to court for years over losing out on a $2.9 billion lunar landing contract. And you see, Bezos just could not stomach that. So he wanted his company to be the one that landed on the moon. And he was willing to bring all of his lobbying power to bear. So what happened? Immediately, Bezos protested to the Government Accountability Office, saying that it wasn't fair, that he wasn't getting the contract. The problem is that while all of this was happening, SpaceX literally was not allowed to work on the lunar lander. Per Bill Nelson, the team preparing to land on the moon had not been allowed to do any work on the lander for 7 months, which means that Bezos, to satisfy his ego about Blue Origin, is a real space company and not a vanity project, just delayed the return of the United States to the moon by an entire year. This is where the rub is. Bezos speaks very loftily about space, the next frontier, about how he was inspired as a kid to move humanity forward. Okay, great. Look, I love space too. I would kill to see an American on the moon in my lifetime. But the problem was that Bezos could not let his greed out of the way. He wants America to win in space as long as he provides the lunar lander, gets him more press, more money, more prestige. It's disgusting. The world's richest man arguably dealt the largest blow to the new American space race than any engineering failure ever could, all for the sake of vanity. And that, my friends, is where the danger in all of this lies. This is only the latest stunt that Bezos has pulled to try to use his personal wealth, fame, and fortune to bring more resources to bear for his rocket company. Check this out. Viewers of the show may recall Bezos, after losing the contract officially back in April, immediately kicked it into high gear. He got Senator Maria Cantwell, the senator from Washington, his own home state and coincidentally home of Amazon HQ, to do something Congress never does: offer more money to NASA. But only on one condition, that NASA would have to give the money to Bezos. This is especially galling because for years, NASA has literally begged on its hands and knees to Congress for more money if they wanted to go to space. They requested $3.3 billion. Congress gave them $850 million for the moon program. They protested, they kicked, they screamed. They said it wasn't enough. But only in they had a budget crunch and they had to go with SpaceX because it gave the most competitive and cost-effective bid was then the lunar lander that Bezos himself, when he was personally affected, that Congress tried to step in to help him. The way that they wrote the bill was so transparent, it actually gave NASA more money than it even asked for that project, and then said specifically it had to pick another company to give the money to, aka Jeff Bezos' company, Blue Origin. Now, luckily, the House of Representatives actually killed that Bezos bailout, but the damage was done. Bezos ended up dragging this out in court for several months more, and now we're delayed. Now we're a year behind on the landing on the moon because Bezos did not get his contract, and that has profound implications. A lot of countries are eyeing the moon right now: India, Brazil, China. NASA Administrator Nelson actually said in the same press conference, blaming Bezos, that they believed China was much closer than originally thought to landing a manned mission on the moon. So let me guess what they don't have to deal with in Beijing: the egos of billionaires affecting a project of national prestige. The story in a microcosm describes the dangers inherent in the current iteration of our space race. In the 1960s, our national project was to land a man on the moon, and it was built on the backs of great American aerospace companies, which built cutting-edge technology and critically had a contract process that selected the best hardware for the sake of actually achieving the mission as fast as possible. Why? Because the goal was simple: get a man on the moon now. Today, we are rudderless in our mission. We cannot decide who we are and why. NASA thinks the coolest part of the moon mission is that a woman and a person of color will be there. Great, I guess. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos is trying to get a contract to further his ego. And lo and behold, the date that we're supposed to land keeps getting pushed back and back. Oligarchic corruption is seeping into what would be a titanic and awesome feat of engineering and a hopeful leap forward for mankind. And it just shows you that little that we really have progressed since the 1960s. As billionaire Peter Thiel is famous for saying, "We were promised flying cars. Instead, all we got was 140 characters." And it didn't have to be this way. We can still fulfill our destiny. It's just gonna take some work here at home to actually get there. And Crystal, I mean, what does it tell you? That Bezos' ego and his lawsuit literally cost us a year.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it, you get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.